Football right now is crazy, man. It's crazy because boring football can get you very, very, very far. And when I say boring football, I don't necessarily mean like it in a bad way. Like, for example, sometimes you just have to defend for your life to make things happen. Like, a lot of people would say that Real Madrid game in the Champions League was a boring game. The way they defended against City, they'll be like, oh, Madrid was so boring. They sat back and they hit counterattacks, but it worked. And it helped Real Madrid win another Champions League because they knew how to suffer and know how to defend and know how to be boring at times. And when we look at the Euro 2024, the teams that are considered the favorites have looked extremely boring at times. Let me explain. Portugal in the first game against, I believe it was Czech Republic, they were playing so boring and so slow that they nearly lost the game. Y'all probably remember that. And when you look at France, they were so boring in almost every single game that they ended up going in second place. And if they just would have attacked the way we know France can attack with the ability of players that they have, they would probably have won that group easily. Let's be honest with each other. If they just would have went full out, gone for it, they probably would have won it easily. But then you look at the smaller teams and the way they play the defending, boring football, it is really hard to break down in modern football. We take a look at England, and although England won their group, they didn't win their group where we're all talking about, oh man, like this is beautiful. They played amazing football. But they're the team that throughout the group stage, I'm pretty sure they allowed the least amount of chances. But no one's going to talk about that because that's the boring side of football, right? Am I praising England? No, not in no way, shape, or form. I thought England didn't look great throughout the group stage, right? I also didn't think France looked great throughout the group stage. I also I think Germany started well, but then at the last two games, we don't really know what we got from Germany. You know, so it's one of those things where like all the teams that were the favorites, including Portugal, who we haven't seen their last game yet. That's going to be when y'all are seeing this is probably when that game happened or happened already. But I don't know the result. Even at times they look extremely boring. And they got Cristiano Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes and Rafael Leao, who's supposed to be this exciting talent, but they look boring. The Euro 2024 for me has opened my eyes to how boring modern football can be. And why we get so excited when we watch a Real Madrid offensive, a Man City being offensive, a Barcelona being offensive. Why, as football fans, we get so excited when we finally get an open game because 90% of football right now is one team completely shelled in the back and the other team trying to break them for 90 minutes. And it is extremely boring to watch, but it also wins. And a lot of people get mad about it. But the truth is the fact that England hasn't allowed a lot of chances does make them a favorite at the competition. And I know people will be like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But yo, look, Portugal won Euro 16. How? Playing defense. They barely won any game on the run of play. They would go to penalties every game. They came in third place of their group. They beat France with a long range shot late in extra time. No game was really won in the run of play. Then you look at Italy when they won the Euro, what was that, 2020? I think it was 2020. They were very defensive and they won it. So what I'm saying is we're seeing this trend of a team that can defend well, and it's always been said defenses win championships, but a team that can defend well, a team that can play organized in the back is really going to be the team that really goes the furthest in this competition. And although Spain looked the most beautiful offensively, they haven't been tested on defense yet, and we're going to be able to see that in the knockout stages, how good that defense really is. Because although Yamal and Nico Williams going forward look incredible, what's that defense going to do when the game really like comes down to it? Are they going to be able to defend? Are they going to be able to play off the counter? Are they going to be able to keep a good shape and a good shell in the back? Because that seems to be what's winning. And I'm not praising this football in any way, shape, or form, and I'm not giving England an excuse. But the truth is this. England went into the competition to win the group, and they won it, right? That's what matters. It doesn't matter how you do it. It matters that you do it. And then luck has to be into it. England played the worst football in the group stage, maybe of all the big teams, except for France. And they got potentially the easiest route to the final. Portugal, a team that won their games, especially the Turkey game, very comfortable, a team that went there with as a favorite for the competition. They easily win their group. They easily, don't even need to play the last game to be able to come out the group. And they're potentially going to be, if they go to the semis and if France goes to the quarters, that's who they're facing. Portugal's route would have to be, they have to go through France and they would have to go through Spain or Germany to make the final. So at times, it's not about how great a football you play. It also comes down to luck. And England were lucky enough to get their job done, and other teams may have slipped up in other places, and they have a route that could potentially be the easier side of the bracket. So that's modern football for you, man. Luck and then being able to defend and play off the counter. And it's not the most beautiful thing. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. If I was right now with a neutral and or someone who is not into football, and they sat down with me like, hey, I really want to get into football, aka soccer, I want to get into the sport, what Euro game should I watch? I would actually look them in the face and say, I don't know. Because there hasn't been a game where we can sit down and look at each other and be like, this game is a great represents what football is and how exciting football can be. To us people who enjoy the sport, we can sit down and watch, a 0-0 game or a 1-1 game and really take something from it and be like, oh, you know what? Although that game wasn't a crazy scoring game, it was a fun game to watch. And there has been some really fun games to watch. But the truth is, the better games have been the teams that are not the favorites. It's been like two teams that are like, like two teams that a lot of people aren't saying are even going to make semifinals, and they face each other. You're like, wow, that was an exciting game. That was a fun game. That was a great game to watch. And that's really what it comes down to, man. When you get a powerhouse team and they match a team, that's not as powerhouse as them, it tends to be a really boring match. And we've seen in this competition, the bigger teams have struggled to find goals. I mean, look at France, bro. They have one goal off of a penalty and the rest are own goals. They haven't even scored. They're coming out of the group stage in second place without scoring in the run of play. And the same thing when Portugal won the Euro. They came out in third place and they hadn't really won a game. They were tying all their games. So it's just one of those things to really think about, man. Like, I know it's like, hey, jump on the bandwagon. Oh, England suck. England are overhyped. England have all these players. And I agree with you, man. Saka, Foden, Cole Palmer, Jude Bellingham. I mean, the list is going on with these guys, man. They have such a talented team, potentially one of the most talented teams I've ever seen of England. And remember, I'm old, man. So I watched Lampard, Gerrard, Wayne Rooney. Like, that team was monstrous. But this team has potential to be, just as good, if not better, if they can win things. And I know you're going to be like, yo, you're crazy. But the truth is, man, when you really look at it, man, Harry Kane, potentially the best number 9 in the world right now, like pure number 9. You got Jude Bellingham, who potentially could be the best midfielder from this season in the world right now. And then you got Saka, who's amazing for Arsenal. You have Cole Palmer, who's great for Chelsea. You got all this freaking talent. Phil Foden, who's a monster for Man City. All this freaking talent. And you can't score goals. And you're not looking, it's not fluid. It's not, it's just reacting to England right now is not fun. It's not one of those things where you go, wow, what a team. But the truth is, lads, at the end of the day, there was times where you watched Real Madrid in the Champions League and you didn't go, wow, this team is amazing. This team plays great football. This team is this team. No, but the team plays as a team and they got the job done. The more exciting games and teams to watch in the Champions League were potentially like Barca against PSG were crazy good. And City throughout the entire competition played such beautiful attacking football. But at the end of the day, Real Madrid was the best team. They defended the best. They attacked. They countered the best. They attacked when they needed to the best. They were the best team. And this competition is going to come down to who is the best team. Who is a team that can defend really well? Who is a team that's goalie is playing out of their mind? Donnarumma for me right now is playing insane. Who has the best midfield? Who is organized the best and can play the most organized defensive football and score when the opportunities come their way? I believe that's what's going to win this competition, especially when you're in the heat and all that stuff. So Euro 2024 for me has been boring. There's been exciting games, but most of the games that were supposed to be fun were boring. I mean, you even look at the last day of the group or of this group that just passed. The Netherlands game was sick, right? The Netherlands versus Australia game was sick, but it was a sick game because it was two teams open and attacking, and Austria just showed up and just played a monstrous game, right? But the France game was extremely boring, and that game was extremely boring. And because France was so boring, they now put themselves on the harder side of the bracket, where had they won their game, they would have been on the easier side of the bracket. So it's just one of those things to really think of, man. Euro 2024 for me has kind of been underhyped, or did I say it right? Overhyped, maybe. And the truth is because a lot of these nations are overhyped. Portugal, for example, and I'm a Portuguese guy, and I always say to you, we have a lot of great players, but we don't play the best football. France has superstars, and they don't play the best football. England has superstars, and they don't play the best football. Spain, who a lot of people aren't really hyping up too much, they play some really good football. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where I think maybe this is the competition of overhyped teams. Hopefully in the knockout stages, that's all going to change and we're going to see great football, great games. But at the moment, lads, I would say that Euro 2024 has underperformed massively, and most of the teams of the competition have underperformed. And you'll see a bright spot in each team, like Germany, the opener, and Portugal in the Turkey game, and you'll see a bright spot. But then the consistency's not there from them. And I honestly can't tell you who I think is going to win this tournament. If I'm being honest with you, I would say England has the best chance at it. But realistically, the way they're playing right now, when they match a really big team, can they win? Because can they score enough goals? Can they be positive enough to go forward? I don't know, man. So for me, it's interesting. For me, it's an interesting competition, and I would not know who to put my money on. But let me know in the comments down below who you guys think are the best team at the Euro night right now and who you think the favorites are. But remember, Spain's going to have to go through Germany. France is going to have to go through Portugal. It gets very, very complicated for the bigs, man. So we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Big thumbs up, subscribe. That's my thoughts on Euro 2024, baby.